welcome to the video lecture series on Xsd. So Xsd is called as XML Schema Definition. So we'll be learning about this Xsd with an elaborate fashion with practical illustration. So the first step is this is called as an Eclipse IDE. So in Eclipse IDE you are supposed to create a project. So I go to new and then click a project. So in this project I should go to general, and in general I should click project here and click next. Now I will give a project name. Let us assume that my project name is XML project. Okay, XML project, and finish it off. So now since this is an XML project, now first I have to create an Xsd file. So to create an Xsd file, I just right click this and go to new and go to other. So here in this other I just type schema. Okay, so you can see that XML schema file is there. So just click this and give any valid name for this file. Let us assume that I give a name for this college rules. Okay, college rules.xsd. So this is my name of my Xsd file. So now you can see that the template of Xsd is here. Okay, so first thing what you have to do is we should actually we are going to write the rules for an XML file. So inside the schema tag we should first define what is the root element. Let us assume that I should have a root element called as colleges. Okay, so how to define a root element? And I simply write it as element name, and the name is actually called as colleges. Okay, so my element name. Okay, now this colleges is going to be the root element. Root element means that it will have one or more number of child elements here. Okay, so when a tag is having a child element, that element is considered to be a complex type. So if the tag does not have any child elements, that is called as a simple type. Now this colleges is going to have the child elements, so I just make this as a complex type here. So complex type. Now all the child elements should be in an ordered way. Okay, should be arranged in an ordered fashion. So what we are going to do is we are going to use a sequence tag. Sequence tag actually depicts that all these child elements has to be arranged in an ordered fashion. So now I use sequence. Now again the problem here is actually this colleges can have a child element called as college. Okay, so again we will have a child element here. That name is called as element name is college. Now let us assume that this college is also called as a complex type, because college will have a name, college will have an area. Okay, college will have a area. Area means in the sense we can name the city is called as area here. Okay, so now in this case, since this college is going to have two elements called as name and area, then this is also called as a complex type. Okay, so I just name this as complex type. And inside this also should follow a sequence. Okay, so sequence, all these child elements should follow a sequence. Okay, so now what we are going to do now is actually we are going to define the child elements for college here. So let us assume that the child elements for the college is name and another is called as area. So to define the child elements called as name here, we will simply write it as element name is equal to called as name. Okay, or we will just name it as C name. C name means college name. Okay, so we can simple type things. We can just close a tag like this also. Okay, Now the next is we should actually mention what is the type of this, since college name will be actually a string data type, so I just mentioned the string data type. Okay. The next is we will have an area here. So element name is area. So area is also will be having type called a string data type. Okay. Let us try to create one more element, child element, that is called as a pin code. Okay. So element name is equal to pin code, and type is integer. Okay. So now you can come to an understanding that we have a tag root element called as colleges, and it has one sub element called as college, and the college has three sub elements called as cname, area, and pin code. Okay. So when we talk about colleges and colleges and college are actually having sub elements, so we can say that these are called as complex types. But when we talk about cname, area, and pin code, it does not have any sub elements, so we call this as simple types. Okay. So colleges and college are complex type, and cname, area, and pin code are called as simple type here. Okay. Now we will actually apply this Xsd rules in an XML file. So how to actually apply these rules in an XML file? So I will create an XML file. So right click this. So go to new and go to other, and you can see that there is a file called as XML file. So click this XML file, and I name this file as say for example college structure. Okay, college or college data. I will just name this as college data, colleges data. Okay, college data. Now I just click next. So the next important thing is I have to select which XSD I have to apply. So you can see here there is a create XML file from XML Schema File. So second option you just select it. Then in which folder actually, which project is actually this XSD existing? So it is existing in XML project here. Okay. And which XSD file? The XSD file is called as collegerules.xsd. So click next. Now the most important thing is you just ensure that what is the root element. So root element is actually colleges. Okay. And the most important thing here is you have a TNS target name source. Just select it and edit it and just remove this TNS. Okay. So because every time this TNS will get appended in the XML file, so I don't want to do that. So now I just taken this and just finish. Now we can see here that this is called as my XML file. So my XML file where you can see that the Xsd file rule has been applied here, collegerules.xsd has been applied. So you see that the parent element, root element is called as colleges, and inside the root element you have college, and inside college you have cname, area, and pin code. Okay. So cname and area are actually text characters, and the pin code is actually integer. Now the question is, suppose I want to actually create a college code. I want to create an attribute for this college. Okay. So not for colleges, I want to create an attribute for college. Let us assume that college code I want to create. That is going to be an attribute. So how to create it? So now to create this attribute, I should go to this Xsd college rules file. So college is actually, I want to create an attribute for this college tag. Okay. So college tag is called as a complex type. So what should I do to create an attribute here? Very simple. So college is actually having is a complex type, and inside this complex type you have a sequence. Okay, and at the end of this sequence I want to create an attribute. Okay, at the end of the sequence, so I create attribute name, and the attribute name I said it is called as code, college code. Okay, and let us assume that college code type should be uh, integer. Now you can see that this college code type has been applied here. Now we will check it out whether this we can include this code in XML file. So now I just take college and code is equal to, I type 1 2 3. So it is not actually giving me any error here, so it is actually applied here, it is supporting. Okay, but suppose when I try something called a string, it is actually reporting me an error. Okay, so because I have to apply only integer in this case, that's why it is reporting me an error. Okay, now we have created this college code. Now 1 2 3. Okay, now the most important thing is, suppose I want to create this college more than one time here. Okay, so more than one time. So how to create more than one time? So I just click, let's see, and if I try to paste it next time, it is actually reporting me an error, because I will try to validate it and show you what kind of error you are getting. So validation completed with errors here, but when I click it, invalid content was found starting with element college. No child element is expected at this point. Okay. So now what does it mean is actually colleges can have only one college at a time. Okay, only one child element, but we don't want to do that because there are a number of colleges in a state, isn't it? So you have to represent more than one college in an XML document. So how to overcome this? Now to overcome this, I should actually mention that how many colleges I can have here. Okay, so here in this element, in this sequence, okay, in this sequence, I should say that in the sequence min occurs is equal to 1 and max occurs is equal to 3. Okay, that means minimum I have to specify one college and maximum I can specify 3 colleges. Okay, inside this colleges tag I can have minimum one college and maximum 3 colleges. Okay, now if you just go here and check it out, now I have one college already. I just validated. Okay, okay, the error is getting exhausted now, it is going off. Now I have this college, second college I have added, and I just to apply the third college here. When I apply third college, it is not showing me any error. But what is the condition here? Minimum one college can be there and maximum you can have 3 colleges. Okay, maximum 3 colleges are there. But when I apply the fourth college, it is actually showing me an error because actually I exceed the limit. Okay, so I am not permitted to exceed the limit. So I can go up to 3 colleges here. So it is how it is actually going off. Okay. Now the most important thing here is, now you have to apply a specific pattern. For example, let us assume that this pin code should have only 6 digits, isn't it? Okay, pin code I am giving it as integer. Even now at this moment of time, if I just apply any number of code, it is actually accepting it. Okay, but this is not a valid pin code because pin code as per Indian standards you can have only 6 digits here. Okay, so now how to overcome this? So how to apply the rules for this? So to apply the rules for this, you go to Xsd and in pin code you just mention the type as integer. Okay, so pin code is actually here, and I just close this element here. Okay, now for this integer I have to apply the rules here, and since pin code is a simple type, I mention it as simple type. So we will take this pin code out. Okay. Okay. When I type simple type, in this simple type, I have to type restriction base. Okay. Restriction. Then I should type base is equal to what type of data type I am going to apply here. It is called as integer. Okay. Now the very next important thing is, I said that you have to accept only 6 digits, isn't it? So what are the 6 digits here? Okay. So how to apply it? So here I can apply pattern value. So in this pattern value, you just write a regular expression. So only digits are permitted. So 0 to 9, and then how many digits are permitted? 6 digits are permitted. And that's it. Okay. So now you know how to apply. So for pin code, since pin code is a simple type, I have mentioned simple type, and after that I apply a restriction base. That means I cannot apply all numbers, I have to apply only a certain numbers. That's why I am mentioning it as a restriction base. And what is the data type? It is called as an integer. And the number of digits should be only 6 digits. So I have mentioned the 0 to 9 of 6 here. That's it. So that means only 6 digits can be permitted. Now we can just verify to what extent these rules are working. Now here I am applying 4 here, it is reporting me an error. Okay. So let us assume that I write it as 64100. Okay. So 46410. So it is permitted. Okay, 6 digits are there. Suppose if I reduce 1 digit from it, so it is actually reporting me an error. Okay. Suppose I type one more 7 digits. Still it is reporting me an error. Why? Because only 6 digits are permitted. Anything less than that or more than that will be reporting me an error here. Okay. Now you have come across that how to apply a restriction based on numbers. Okay. Now let us assume that as far as this area is concerned, I want to fix up area where selective areas here. Okay. So what are the selective areas? Selective areas, let us assume that I want to have Chennai, Coimbatore and Madurai. So how to apply this? So in this area tag, I have to apply Chennai, Coimbatore and Madurai. So that concept is called as, if you are going to mention only selected areas, then that is called as enumeration. Okay. So now so this is called as area here. I simply mention it as simple type. So this is also simple type here. So here I mention it as a restriction base, and we will mention it as string here. Okay. Now how to apply the enumeration? So enumeration. So the value is, I said that Chennai is one value, and the next value is Coimbatore. So next value is Coimbatore, and the next value is Madurai. Okay. So now we have applied this. Now we will verify whether this is working or not. So now you can see here that this is reporting me an error. Okay, so I'll just validate it. It will validate this one. Okay. So now if you just come over here, I said that area is it is not accepting that. Now to overcome this, what should I do? So you have mentioned this restriction base, simple type, enumeration value, Chennai, Coimbatore and Madurai. Okay. Now if I just go and type anything called as Trichy, so still that error persists. Okay, isn't it? So I just make it as Madurai. Okay, now I just come here, I type Chennai, and here I mention it as Coimbatore. Okay. Now if we just validate it. Okay. So there are some rules here. So you know how to apply this rules, enumeration, Durai, Coimbatore and Chennai. Okay. So enumeration wise, you know that how to apply this. Okay. Now the most important thing is, let us assume that I want to get rid of this elements here, restriction simple type. We will just take this out and I type is equal to string. Type is equal to string here. Okay. Okay, so now the problem here is, I have to close this element. Okay, now see here, element has not been closed now, so area is actually having only 3 values. Now if you just go here, I just evaluate it. So what are the errors here? So now the error is actually reporting that pin code error, okay, because 6 digits has to be permitted in pin code. Now I just type something called as yes, this will be getting overridden, and then I have another pin code here. I just name it as 623004. Okay. Now I try to validate it. Okay, so there is not any errors. Now suppose I change this name Chennai, instead of Chennai I just take it as Trichy. Okay, but this value is not actually permitted, isn't it? Okay, I can type only Coimbatore, Madurai and Chennai, but Trichy is not permitted, so it is reporting me an error. Okay, suppose I change this as Madurai. Okay, so you can see that the error is getting eliminated. Okay, so this is how actually you can apply only a selected values, and selected values are called as enumeration here. Okay. Now I hope that you are able to understand all these things. Now we will come to another point here. I have mentioned college code, isn't it? Okay, so and the code is actually an integer. Let us assume that the code should be a string, and 3 characters should be character, 3 should be from alphabets and 3 should be from numbers. Okay, now how to do that? So we will actually make this attribute here. I will just close this attribute. So attribute is actually a simple type, and I just provide a restriction base here, and that restriction base, let us make this as string. Okay. Now what I said that I should have 3 characters from alphabets and 3 characters from numbers. For instance, I should have something like this. So A, D, C and 3, 4, 5. Okay, you can see that 3 from alphabets and 3 from numbers. Okay, so let us assume that this should be the college code. So how to frame the rules for this? So just go to the pattern base. Okay, and in this pattern value just define the regular expression. I said let us assume that A to Z small case. From A to Z small case I should have 3 characters, and from 0 to 9 I should have 3 characters. Okay, now see here, this we will apply it here now. So when I have this bank code, this code I have 1, 2, 3, it is there, but I just type C, D, E. Okay, so now you can see that the error is getting eliminated, because the first 3 are characters and the second 3 are numbers. Okay, and followed by here I have A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, so this also gets eliminated. Okay, and here I think there will be error here, it is 1, 2, 3, so I just KL is it. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Suppose if I just reduce 1 character from it, it is actually reporting me an error. Why? Because you have only 2 alphabetic characters and 3 numbers. So as per the rule, it is not permitted. So it is actually reporting an error here. Okay. So now we can see that this getting eliminated. So this is how actually you can apply an XSD for both the simple and complex types in XML. So I hope that you are able to understand. So thanks for watching the video. Have a good day. This is Dr. K. Sivabalan, Professor in IT Department, Sri Krishna College of Engineering and Technology. Thank you and bye.